Hey, how's it going out there? Welcome to the show. Yes. May the 4th be with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are Star Wars fans. If you didn't know,
Now you know.
today is a national holiday.
The obstacle is the way.
This is the way.
Is that something that Obi-Wan would say?
Not really. I didn't
Oh.
understand that. That seems
Oh.
like a yoga phrase or
Oh,
something.
no, I'm reading a book called The Obstacle's the Way.
It seems like something you got in
Like
Lindsay's
a yoga
class. I don't
phrase.
know.
I like that. That was good.
Like
Not
a
Yoda. Yoga.
Yoga. Well, I thought it was Yoda. The obstacle's the way.
No, this is the way is what the
Yeah.
Mandalorian says.
Oh, well,
that's
this is
definitely Mandalorian.
this is the
Yeah.
way today
Yes.
on Real Talk Real Estate.
Shannon is
May-
showing her
May the
Star
4th.
Wars prowess over here.
May the 4th episode. Oh my gosh.
There's a new one coming out too.
I did
new
see
show.
that.
Yeah.
I did see
Saw
that.
Yeah.
And the shows are on point, man. You know, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
new, the new old school Star Wars, I guess, in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty
We
cool.
I think-
we watched George and Tammy this week. Have you seen that one yet?
That was a tearjerker.
That was a doozy.
I have not seen that.
Well,
rough.
it's a good one. Why don't we talk about it after you watch it? I don't want to give you any spoilers.
Yeah.
no.
Because
It's about George Jones and Tammy Wynette.
yeah, it's
So
Okay.
great. They do a great job
Okay.
of that.
it's got Michael Shannon. It's got what's her name?
I don't know what the actress
I
that
can't
played Tammy
remember.
Wynette's name
She's
is.
so good. Oh man,
What's the-
Jessica Chastain.
Yep. What's Richie's name? Because I didn't like him.
He's Steve Zahn.
Steve
Anyway,
Zahn is a
enough. You're already
buster.
giving it away if Brian wants to.
Oh.
watch
Yep.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it.
No, you
But not
have
today,
to.
because
It's
today is all Star Wars.
all
Yeah.
Star
day.
Wars
Not
all
today.
day. Not today.
That's right.
Except for the Nuggets. The Nuggets play at 5. So
Oh, there you go. Yep.
all
Well,
Star Wars
perfect.
until 5 p.m. and then
I'm sure
it's
some
Nug-
people at the Nuggets
Nug
game will be
Central.
celebrating Star Wars.
Yes.
Seems like a solid fit,
Well,
It
go
does.
Nugs.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be
right.
sweet.
Always.
Yeah.
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 Great team.
So
Hell yeah. We're going to flip it up a little bit today.
We're gonna flip it up.
We're
We're
gonna
just gonna go right
we're
into
gonna-
it. We're not gonna catch you on up. With
No, we'll catch
what's
up.
been going
If
on
we
with
have time
whom
after we
and when.
have our real talk, real estate conversation,
good.
then we'll
This is
catch them
good.
up
This is
because I wanna hook, line, and sink them right in the.
Go
the-
for it then.
Yeah.
let's do it.
Tell us.
Let's do it.
Tell us more, Shannon.
Tell
You-
us more.
had
Well,
me.
this is a conversation for today, which is what does it look like if you want to buy a property or an investment property with your friends as a roommate?
The age-old question.
The age-old question: how does that work if you're not maybe in a partnership? It's a couple of friends.
Some really good friends.
Some really good
And you
friends.
guys know that you could live together, and so the option is
Keep on
hey,
renting.
We're just throwing our money away at rent.
Yep.
Why don't we
Buy a house.
dip our toe in the water and see what happens?
Yep. Or buy.
So how do you do that?
How do you do that?
How would Brian and I, as friends, well, that might not be a good example because we are business partners.
Yeah.
So
you can.
sorry.
Let's just we'll
It's
just
kind
we'll
of-
go
Two friends.
flashback
It's kind-
to the
hypothetical
last-
two
kind
friends.
of it's kind of the same scenario in that respect if it was
it could
business
be whoever,
partners.
whatever friends you
Yes.
want it to be.
Yes, because you
Okay?
can
Yeah.
you can
You
buy
make
an
up the friends.
you can
Yeah.
buy an investment
So-
property with with your business partner as well. So we've
So
seen
I'm
that
talking
happen.
about
too.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be off target.
Okay,
what we're
so
trying to talk
you're
about.
your
I'm talking to
roomies.
my kids. So my kids are perfect, like in that range, 23
Well, they're-
and 21.
Okay.
And one has had a roommate now for 4 years. So they've been at college, they've been going to school, they've been hanging out, they've been paying somebody else's mortgage, and school's coming to an end for one of them. And I keep saying, like, why wouldn't you buy a house with a buddy, and you guys can qualify for FHA, first time home buyer. You can qualify separately. You could potentially put together a partnership, or just change up title a little bit and allow, like, you're a 50-50 owner, and buy a 4-bedroom place, rent out 2 of the bedrooms, and then you guys live in you obviously live in one of them, but why wouldn't you take advantage of that and kind of house hack, rent out those rooms? And this is something that comes across, and I, just talking to my kids was like, bam, this is huge for a lot of those people that can't buy a house right now. They're like, look, I want to buy it. I'm not in a relationship. I wanted to wait till I got married, or I wanted to wait till we were in a relationship. But why couldn't you buy a house? Why couldn't you, get with a roommate or two roommates, and set some guidelines, and there has to be some thought going into this, like, who owns what's the share, but also, are they, if they've been reliable, they've been paying their rent, they have jobs, they have like all those different pieces that you would look for in a business partner. um, you can go down the rabbit hole, you can get an operating agreement, you can do a bunch of other stuff, but the reality is, if you already know that you can live with this person or these persons, and you could buy a property together and you have the credit to do it, and now you guys are splitting up, and I say guys, but you guys, gals, are splitting up the cost of the down payment and such and maintenance, and you're doing all those other pieces, why wouldn't you, um, get away from paying somebody else's mortgage and start paying yours? You could always add another roommate. You could always add two other roommates. I mean, there's tons of other things. House hacks would tell you, rent out the basement, rent out, if it has an accessory dwelling, rent that out, make money on it. So there's tons of other opportunities. The bigger piece in here is stop being told what you can't do and start working on what you can do, because there's plenty of people that want to get out of that rent nightmare right now and
For sure.
buy properties and get out of having to move every year or two. They had nightmare landlords that did nothing, absentee, things were breaking, the refrigerator was broken, there's a leak in the house, all sorts of stuff, and the landlord was like, yeah, that sucks. So
Wow.
So I guess the main thing is we know there's a way to do it. We've
Yeah.
done it before as real estate brokerage, that kind of thing. So there is a way to do that. You figure out what the share is, a lot like a timeshare or a shared deed, right?
Having all
Yeah.
of that situated prior to going into a contract is probably a good idea. Making sure
Sure.
that you have an operating agreement or
Yep.
an agreement in
So
general.
clear terms.
Very clear terms. It's going to be
Got it.
50-50. I'm going to own 60%. You're going to own 40, since I have 60% of the down payment, or whatever that kind of looks like ahead of time. And then if it's a 4-bedroom house, obviously they're able to take advantage of the renters, of bringing in 2 other tenants and being able to have a tenant assist with paying the mortgage. But then you have to have very clear terms in terms of if something breaks, who's responsible for that? Who is going to pay the deductible on the insurance claim that comes through, or the water heater that breaks, or so on and so forth. So before getting into a situation with a buddy or a friend, first piece of advice I would tell them personally would be, what are the terms?
Okay, so we define the clear terms. We got that.
Yep.
You need to really identify if this is a person who is going to be a good partner, like we talked about. Is this a person that I know is going to be dependable, and pay their whatever their portion is of
100%. Yeah.
going into it. And then in addition to that, I would assume that you would already know that you could live together, because that's another thing too, is that you find out who your friends are real fast
Yeah.
when they
Without a doubt.
live in your house. So,
Yeah.
and it could be different with partnership like that, because you could feel more pride of ownership or less. And I guess those are things that you're just going to find out during that
Yeah.
time. So,
Well, I can tell you how to screw it up. I lived screwing it up. The first house I ever bought, I bought with a buddy.
okay.
Um,
Wow.
and it was going great. Everything was awesome. We were renting out the rooms. It was cool. And then, he got into some financial mishaps and was like, I'm out, and wanted to walk away. and like just leave the house to me to take care of everything. And because there were bills that were coming up, kind of like what you talked about, stuff that was breaking, things we had to repair, replace. And he's like, I don't have the money. Like, I got to move out and I got to, be done. And he
Wow.
quit claimed the house to me. Like, he was like, I'm done. I'm out.
So did you buy him out at that point, or
No, there
how?
was nothing.
What was his equity stake at that situation? He just bounced out and was done.
He left. So
Well, he
quit
didn't hold
claimed
up his
over.
end of the agreement either.
Yeah.
Though,
Yep.
so.
Interesting.
But we
Yeah.
didn't have an agreement, so there wasn't like a.
Oh,
But the quit claim was him walking away, and
and then it was
So,
your problem. Like you had
it was
to
my problem.
be responsible
And then
for it.
a couple years later, like, I mean, we renovated the house, we did a lot of repairs, we continued to rent it, we kind of kept doing other stuff. When he walked away, and we sold it, the house value doubled. So we bought it at like 55 grand, sold it for 110.
Wow, can
Interesting.
you imagine
And,
a house in Denver, 55 grand?
I see it all the time when we
Uh,
pull up realist reports of
Yeah,
what
four
people.
bed,
Yep.
4 bed, 3 bath.
What people bought it
Uh,
at. I mean, obviously times have changed. I don't know what year that was. I would assume it's over 20 years ago.
Definitely.
It was
You know?
over 20 years ago.
91. Yeah, 91, 92.
I'm not trying to age my friend or anything. I was trying to be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. But what we didn't have in place was any of those things, and so like what happened, it went south real fast.
Wow.
We're still friends, but
That's
I think there
amazing.
was probably a 10-year time frame in there where we weren't really talking to each other.
Sure.
But what ended up happening from that was the catapult for me of home ownership, right? Like that was like Carrie and I bought our next house, we bought our next house, we bought our next house. We had tons of equity in all of our houses from every time we bought a house, from that one purchase. And we didn't have any of those things, and at the end, like when we sold the other house, it wasn't my buddy that called me, it was actually his dad. And he passed away. I've known them since I was a little kid. And his dad's like, well, don't you feel guilty about not giving half of that equity to my son? And I'm like, no, because he walked away. Like, so my advice, don't do it the way we did it. It was a disaster. And it was added stress that you didn't need. But getting into the house, neither one of us could have bought the house by ourselves. And so it was the only way to get into a house at that time, with our 8% interest rate and all that fun stuff. So but we rented it out, we paid down a lot of equity, or a lot of principal on it, using our roommates. And so it was like a match made in heaven in that sense. So
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
Any
But do the
other?
operating agreement, do the definitely make sure you can live with that person. Make
Where
sure
would
that
I
you can
find an operating agreement if this is me and I'm thinking that I'm gonna
Contact an
Legal
attorney.
Zoom.
Yep.
Legal Zoom has it. Rocket Lawyer has it. My
These resources
best
are
advice-
available.
I'm
my
just
best
I'm letting our
advice,
people know.
There's a one clause I would tell you to always put into it is like if you're a 50-50 partnership, and it's basically called a suicide clause, is if you can't come to agreement on anything, and everyone's fighting and they're not doing anything, you're the fallback on it is you basically sell the property.
Okay.
And if you can't, it typically makes people come back to the table to have a conversation.
So there's a fail safe. There's a
Yep.
fail safer in there that if we get in a fight, me and my roommate get in a huge fight, we can't even talk
Yep.
to each other, much less agree about what's going to happen with the house. It forces us to sell it or to be adults,
well,
essentially.
yeah, because it's so like typically you'd have like, I want to buy you out, and the person's like, oh, my equity, I feel like it should be, I put in an extra $100,000 that you didn't put in. But
Well, that can all be
basically-
defined in the terms and the
Yep.
and the percentage of how much you actually your share. So
Well,
definitely,
maintenance along the way.
Yeah.
Yep, maintenance, all
Yep.
those things. People like, but you get to the point
utilities,
where
all that.
you get to the point where if you can't, if clearer heads can't prevail, then you liquidate the asset and then you split it 50-50, you walk away, or whatever your partnership says it is, and you walk away. But it typically keeps people on the straight and narrow. And so,
Got it.
especially in a 50-50 partnership.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then what about taking title? I know that that's something that we don't, we advise our clients to seek legal counsel on that. But what would you share with a potential buyer that's looking
Joint
to do something
tenants.
that like this regarding the title or the
Actually-
ownership of the property?
Actually, depending on how that goes, it would probably be tenants in common. Tenants in common mean that you have a 50%, they have a 50%. If something happened to them, like let's say, horrifically they passed away or something, their family, your operating agreement would say what to do. But if you didn't have an operating agreement, your family members or whoever, like if you had children, whatever, would have the ability to take over that, or again push it towards liquidating it. Again, that's why we would tell you to seek legal advice, so that it wouldn't be left to one or the other.
So a lot to think about. Lots of but it could be done. So I'm sure more and more people are doing it. The
Seeing more
living
and more.
situations. I mean,
As the
definitely
cost of living gets
cost of living
higher,
is higher. For
rent
sure.
is not getting cheaper in Boulder.
You
I
may
know
need
that.
you may need to do something to supplement or even to afford to live in the place that you love to be in. So it makes sense.
And it's a game changer.
Totally.
It's a game changer in the fact that your costs are controlled, right? Your taxes may go up. You may have a higher HOA. You may have whatever. But the reality of it is if you had a 4-bedroom or even a 3-bedroom and you're renting out one other room, that money can be dumped straight into the principal, and that's just helping you build equity. And then you're living in your house and you're paying down your mortgage. No matter what, you're paying down 3% a year on a 30-year fixed mortgage.
Wow,
Love it.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love it.
nice.
I love that house hack tip of the day
Yeah, that was
on
sweet.
on May the 4th. It's a good one.
May the
Going
fourth.
right into it. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
So tell
And
us
look-
about
and look
this
like
house,
you're-
Shannon.
Oh, that is Cody's listing here in the Springs. Let me pull up the
We got
sheet
a
on
open
it.
House. Open house.
Yep,
today
he's having an
and
open
tomorrow.
he's having an open house today and tomorrow here in the Springs. It's open house weekend. So if you're
Open
in
house
if you're in the market, you have to go to I think it's the PPAR website, and you get a ticket form or something, and you're with that ticket you're registered to win $500. So if you're out and about looking at houses this weekend, it's definitely worth it because you're in a sweepstakes as well. But Cody's property here is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 27, right under 2,800 square feet. I know he just did a price reduction on the property as well, and it's in a great location near Peterson, near the Powers Corridor, Schriever Air Force Base, easy access to everything. It's a really neat looking house, and I know his sellers want to sell. So if you have questions on that, let us know.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a
great.
good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And then we've got our duplex over on Dublin. Quadplex. Sorry about that. 2-bed, 1-bath in each unit. 2 of the units are completely being updated and renovated as we speak, and then the other 2 are getting new appliances, new paint. We've got a new
Great
roof.
opportunity
Yeah,
there.
new roof on this beauty. New siding. It's in a central location here in the Springs, so it's a great opportunity for somebody to do that house hack type thing with a
another great
potential
house
room, with a roommate or as an investor themselves, living in one of the units, renting out the other 3, building up some equity after you purchase it, and then do it again, which is something that we really preach with our clients and our investors all of the time, especially if they're in the game and they want to start building some passive income, which
Do it.
is a fun word.
Ooh, passive income.
It's a
I
fun
like it.
word. Yes.
Good.
Mailbox
That is good.
money.
Yep.
Speaking of
that's
fun
the way to-
words, tell us more about this here.
Uh,
This is you, Shani?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
No.
think that I just come across, or Brian comes across things all the time, and we
We want to share it.
we end up sharing it with each other, and we want to make sure that we share it with our friends and family here too. This one says, what if it works out exactly how you imagined it or greater? Entertain that thought. We have a tendency.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, we have a tendency sometimes to maybe be a little negative in life instead of looking at
What if
the
I fail?
the
What
greater
if it
picture.
doesn't work out?
Yep.
Oh, I've got some of those exact feelings coming up when we get to my photos. So,
Yep. Well,
yeah.
and that's kind of, it correlates to what Chris is working on right now, which is a fun project for him that he's been doing this week, and he's putting a new engine
it.
in his K1500 76 pickup
She's
truck.
coming back to life.
And that's what
Oh.
that's what he's thinking, you know. And
Oh.
I've told him too. I'm like, what if that thing doesn't fire up? So the anxiety around that sometimes in the heat of the moment is hard. But if you turn around and look behind you in your past, sometimes when you did dream the dream and imagine where you could be, it did work out
Yeah,
greater.
what if it works out exactly
know,
like we
so-
planned?
What? Yeah, think about where we were 5 years ago, us three, and
Yeah.
a lot of our friends and a lot of our clients. And what if we were where we were 5 or 10 years ago, and not
100%.
where we are today? That's a huge leap. There was
Sure.
there was no safety net sometimes in there. It was all like, let's just figure it out as we go. Fail forward.
Yep.
Let's do it.
And all those
So-
experiences make up who you are. I know for a fact that I had to dig into the person that I was 20 something years ago to be able to do a project like this and to really, take it on. Because it's it's a lot of work, and but it's going to be worth it. And when it does fire up exactly like we planned, Shannon's going to drive it.
I'm gonna drive it every day.
She said,
Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go.
Might be a little rough on gas.
It might be a little
Yeah.
rough on gas, and I need to make sure I'm wearing my platform shoes because I have a hard time reaching the gas pedal in that guy because the seat doesn't move up and like back and forward like a traditional car. So I have to like sit up really
The bench.
close. Yeah, it's got a bench seat, so I'm excited for that. Fun.
Some drives. She asked me
I like it.
yesterday, and this has been like pretty much all week I've been doing this. And Shannon asked me yesterday, because I'm getting pretty close to like that first fire up. She's like, is it going to be ready for our date tonight? And I was like, no, not quite. I wish.
So
I might have told her yes that
Yeah.
it was. But
I was
Yeah.
being a little facetious, obviously. I'm like, are we driving that bad boy out tonight or what? And he's like, yep, it's almost ready. I'm like, yeah, right. Get out of here. Get out of
I
here.
wish.
Yes.
It's almost
Really
there.
close.
It's almost there.
But getting there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
That's all
So,
that
well,
matters. It's almost there.
we'll
right.
keep everybody posted on that. I can't wait till it hits the road again. It's long overdue. And it's a project in itself. And what if it turns out better than you imagined?
That's what I'm hoping for.
You know, you never know.
let's
Hey,
go.
it's already turned out better than you imagined because a while back you didn't have that even on the dream board.
Yep.
And
You're
that-
now
right,
you
buddy.
got it.
No,
That's
you're right,
true.
man.
So
Yep. All right. Well, let's call it. I love ending on this note. It says motivation can come and go, but discipline will stay with you. Create habits that keep you productive. So discipline and hard work and creating habits, it'll get you to the finish line. So whatever that looks like for you,
That's right.
love it.
be good or be good at it. One of the two.
All right.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah,
All
there you
right.
go.
Happy May the 4th.
Yes.
Happy
All
May
you
the 4th. That's
Yep.
right, nerds.